Most Japanese cars don't look special, but some of them are built in a way that lets them outlast almost everything else on the road. In this video, we're going through 10 Japanese cars that look completely normal, but can run for hundreds of thousands of miles without problems. And when you see the top one, you'll want to go straight to buy it. Let's begin. Number 10. Toyota Corolla, 2008-2013 1.8L2 ZRFE. This is one of those cars people completely overlook because nothing about it stands out. It's slow, basic, and everywhere. But underneath that, the 2 ZRFE engine is built in a way that prioritizes longevity over everything else. It's a 1.8L naturally aspirated port-injected engine with no turbo, no direct injection, and no complex systems that add stress. That matters because fewer variables mean fewer failure points over time. These engines don't rely on high-pressure fuel systems or aggressive tuning, so internal components operate under relatively low stress compared to modern downsized engines. In real-world use, it's very common to see these engines go past 200,000 miles, and many push well beyond that with basic maintenance. Oil changes matter here, but the engine is forgiving compared to others. Even when maintenance hasn't been perfect, it tends to keep running without major internal damage. One thing to watch is oil consumption on higher mileage units, especially if oil changes have been stretched. Timing chain noise can also appear over time, but it's usually gradual and manageable if addressed early. The traditional automatic transmission paired with this engine is another strong point. It's simple, predictable, and doesn't suffer from the same issues seen in more complex systems like CVTs. With basic fluid changes, it tends to last the life of the car. This Corolla doesn't feel special, but that's exactly the point. It's built with conservative engineering, low stress, and proven components. That combination is what allows it to keep running long after more advanced cars start having problems. Number 9. Honda Accord, 2003-2007 2.4L K24. The K24 engine in this generation Accord is one of the most proven and well-balanced engines Honda has ever made. It's not just durable, it's consistent over time, which is why so many of these cars are still on the road with high mileage. It's a 2.4L naturally aspirated engine with a strong bottom end and efficient design. It uses port injection, has solid oil flow characteristics, and doesn't rely on complicated systems that tend to fail as the car ages. That simplicity is a big part of why it lasts. These engines regularly reach 250,000 to 300,000 miles when maintained properly. What makes them stand out is how they age. Instead of sudden failures, they develop small, predictable issues over time. Oil leaks from seals, worn mounts, or slight timing chain stretch can appear, but they're manageable and don't usually lead to catastrophic damage. Cooling performance is another strong point. The engine handles temperature well, even under extended use, which reduces long-term stress on internal components. Transmission maintenance is important here. The automatic transmissions in these models can become problematic if fluid is ignored. However, units that received regular fluid changes tend to last significantly longer and remain smooth even at higher mileage. What you end up with is a car that doesn't rely on any single strong point. Everything is built to last together. That balance is what allows this Accord to quietly reach mileages that many other cars never do. Number 8. Toyota Camry, 2007-2011 2.5L2 ARFE. This is one of those engines that doesn't get talked about much, but it quietly does everything right. The 2 ARFE 2.5L is a naturally aspirated, port-injected engine designed with a very clear goal: run smoothly for a long time with minimal stress. It replaced the older 2.4L that had oil consumption issues, and Toyota corrected a lot of those weaknesses here. The result is an engine that handles heat better, maintains oil control more effectively, and generally ages in a more predictable way. You'll regularly find these engines sitting at 180,000 to 250,000 miles with no major internal work. And what stands out is how stable they feel even at that mileage. They don't suddenly fall apart. They just keep doing their job. Where problems show up is usually tied to neglect rather than design. Stretching oil changes too far can still lead to consumption issues over time, and ignoring coolant service can reduce long-term cooling efficiency. But when those basics are respected, the engine itself is extremely hard to kill. The 6-speed automatic paired with this engine is also a big improvement over older transmissions. It's smooth, relatively simple, and doesn't suffer from the same chronic issues you see in weaker CVT setups. Fluid changes every 60,000 to 80,000 kilometers make a noticeable difference in how long it stays consistent. This Camry isn't exciting in any way, but it's built with conservative engineering and low internal stress. That's why it just keeps going. It doesn't rely on being over-engineered, it relies on being properly engineered. Number 7. Lexus RX 350, 2007-2012 3.5 LV 62 GRFE. Now this is where things get interesting, because on paper, it's a bigger, heavier SUV with a V6, but in reality, it's one of the most durable setups Toyota ever put out. The 2 GRFE 3.5 LV6 is known for its strength and consistency. It's naturally aspirated, uses port injection, and has a very robust internal design. These engines handle load extremely well, which is why they're used across multiple Toyota and Lexus models. It's very common to see RX 350s with 200,000 miles that still feel smooth and strong. The engine doesn't struggle under weight, and it doesn't need to be pushed hard to perform, which reduces long-term stress compared to smaller engines working harder. One of the key advantages here is how stable the engine remains over time. You don't typically see major internal failures. Instead, wear happens gradually in predictable areas like water pumps, ignition components, or minor oil leaks as mileage increases. The transmission paired with this setup is also solid. It's not overly complex, and with regular fluid changes, it handles the torque of the V6 without major issues. Fuel consumption is higher, but from a durability standpoint, this is one of those setups that just doesn't give you problems if you stay on top of basic maintenance. It's the kind of vehicle people buy for comfort, but end up keeping for reliability without even planning to. Number 6. Honda CR-V 2005-2011 2.4L K24. This generation CR-V uses the same K24 engine found in the Accord, but in real-world use, it often ends up lasting even longer. The reason isn't just the engine itself, but how it's typically driven. Less aggressive use, more steady driving, and lower stress per cycle all contribute to longer lifespan. The K24 is built with a strong bottom end, solid oil flow, and a design that handles heat well. It's naturally aspirated, port-injected, and doesn't rely on systems that tend to fail over time like direct injection or turbocharging. That simplicity plays a big role in its durability. You'll regularly find these engines running well past 200,000 miles, and it's not unusual to see them approaching 300,000 with no major internal work. What stands out is how they age. Power delivery remains consistent, and the engine doesn't develop the same level of vibration or roughness that weaker designs tend to show at high mileage. Where issues appear is usually outside the engine itself. Things like worn engine mounts, aging suspension components, or minor oil leaks from seals are common after long use. These are expected wear items, not design flaws. The transmission is another factor that determines how well the car holds up. Automatic units that had regular fluid changes tend to stay smooth even at higher mileage. When fluid is ignored, you start seeing delayed shifts or hesitation, especially in stop-and-go driving. Overall, this CR-V is a combination of a proven engine and low-stress usage patterns. That's what allows it to quietly accumulate miles without major issues. Number 5. Toyota Yaris 2006-2014 1.5L1 NZFE. The Yaris is one of the simplest cars Toyota has made in the last 2 decades, and that simplicity is exactly why it lasts so long. The 1NZFE 1.5L engine is low-powered, low-stress, and designed to operate well within its limits at all times. Because it doesn't produce much power, internal components are never pushed hard. Temperatures stay moderate, loads are low, and wear happens at a slower rate compared to larger or more aggressive engines. That's a big reason why these engines often exceed 200,000 miles with minimal issues. The design is straightforward. Port injection, no turbo, no complex fuel systems, and easy access for maintenance. That means fewer failure points and easier servicing when parts do wear out. Oil changes, spark plugs, and filters are all simple and inexpensive. What you typically see over time isn't engine failure, but general aging of the car. Suspension components wear out, interior quality declines, and small things start to feel loose. But the engine itself keeps running reliably in the background. There are cases where neglect leads to sludge buildup or oil consumption, especially if oil changes are skipped. But under normal maintenance, the engine is extremely forgiving. Transmission options also play a role. Manual gearboxes are nearly indestructible in these cars, and the basic automatic is also very durable compared to more complex systems. It's not a fast car, and it doesn't feel refined, but from a mechanical standpoint, it's one of the easiest cars to keep running long-term. That's what makes it stand out, despite how basic it looks. Number 4. Mazda 6, 2014-2017 2.5L Skyactiv G. Mazda doesn't usually get the same reputation as Toyota or Honda when it comes to long-term durability, but this Mazda 6 with the 2.5L Skyactiv engine is one of those cases where the engineering is better than people expect. It's a naturally aspirated engine with a high compression ratio, around 13:1, which normally increases stress on internal components. The key difference here is how efficiently that combustion is controlled. Mazda focused heavily on improving combustion efficiency and reducing heat loss, which results in cleaner burning and more stable operation over time. That means less carbon buildup compared to engines with less efficient combustion, especially when the car is maintained properly. Over higher mileage, this helps the engine retain smoother operation and better throttle response than many competitors. You'll regularly find these engines reaching 150,000 to 200,000 miles without major internal issues, and many go beyond that. What matters more here than in older engines is maintenance quality. Because of the higher compression, oil is exposed to more thermal stress. Cheap oil or extended intervals will accelerate breakdown and increase internal wear faster than in more conservative designs. Another strong point is the transmission. Mazda uses a conventional 6-speed automatic instead of a CVT, which already reduces one major long-term failure risk. With fluid changes roughly every 60,000 to 80,000 kilometers, these transmissions remain consistent and don't develop the hesitation or overheating issues seen in weaker systems. What makes this car stand out is the balance. It's more efficient and responsive than older Japanese engines, but still manages to maintain strong long-term durability if it's treated correctly. It's not as forgiving as a Corolla, but in the right conditions, it lasts much longer than people expect. Number 3. Lexus ES 350, 2007-2012 3.5L V62 GRFE. The Lexus ES 350 is one of the most overlooked long-term reliable cars, mainly because nothing about it stands out. It's quiet, comfortable, and doesn't try to be sporty or aggressive, but mechanically, it's one of the most stable setups you can find. At the core is the 2 GRFE 3.5L V6, an engine that Toyota has used across multiple platforms for years. It's naturally aspirated, port-injected, and built to deliver smooth power without pushing internal components to their limits. That lower stress level is one of the main reasons it lasts so long. In real-world use, it's very common to see these engines go past 200,000 miles without major internal repairs. What's interesting is how they get there. Instead of sudden failures, the engine develops small, predictable wear points over time. Water pumps may need replacement, ignition coils can fail, and minor oil leaks can appear. But these are manageable and don't affect the core durability of the engine. Another factor that plays a big role is how these cars are driven. ES 350 owners typically drive smoothly and maintain their cars properly. That reduces stress cycles, keeps temperatures more stable, and extends the life of both the engine and transmission. The transmission paired with this V6 is also a strong point. It's a traditional automatic that handles torque comfortably, and with fluid changes every 60,000 to 80,000 kilometers, it remains smooth even at high mileage. This is one of those cars that doesn't get attention, but quietly reaches mileages that many others don't. Number 2. Toyota Avalon, 2006-2012 3.5L V62 GRFE. The Toyota Avalon from this generation is one of the most overlooked long-term reliable cars, mainly because it sits in a segment people don't usually pay attention to. But mechanically, it's built around one of the most proven setups Toyota has ever made, the 2 GRFE 3.5L V6. This engine is naturally aspirated, port-injected, and designed to deliver smooth power without pushing internal components to their limits. That's key. It produces enough torque that it never feels strained, which means lower stress on pistons, bearings, and the valve train over time. That's one of the reasons these engines regularly go beyond 200,000 miles without major internal repairs. What makes the Avalon even more durable is how it's typically driven. Unlike smaller cars, this isn't something people push hard. It's driven smoothly, with gradual acceleration and less aggressive inputs. That reduces heat cycles, keeps oil degradation more controlled, and extends the life of both the engine and transmission. In terms of real-world aging, you don't see sudden failures. Instead, wear shows up in predictable places. Water pumps may need replacement around higher mileage, ignition coils can fail, and small oil leaks from seals can appear over time. None of these affect the core integrity of the engine. The transmission is another strong point. It's a conventional automatic, not a CVT, and it handles torque comfortably. With fluid changes every 60,000 to 80,000 kilometers, it remains smooth and avoids the slipping or hesitation seen in weaker systems. This is the kind of car that doesn't attract attention, but quietly outlasts many others simply because everything about it is designed to reduce stress and increase longevity. Number 1. Honda Civic, 2012-2015, 1.8 LR18. The Honda Civic with the 1.8 LR18 engine is one of the best examples of simple engineering translating directly into long-term reliability. There's nothing complicated about this setup, and that's exactly why it works so well over time. The R18 is a naturally aspirated, port-injected engine that operates under relatively low stress. It doesn't produce high power, but that means internal components are not constantly being pushed. Lower cylinder pressure, moderate temperatures, and consistent operation all contribute to slower wear over time. These engines commonly reach 200,000 miles without major internal issues, and many go beyond that with basic maintenance. What stands out is how stable they remain. They don't develop sudden problems or dramatic failures. Instead, they gradually age while still running reliably. Another important factor is how forgiving the engine is. Even when maintenance isn't perfect, it tends to tolerate it better than more complex engines. Slightly delayed oil changes won't immediately cause damage, although long-term neglect will still catch up eventually. Over time, what you usually see are external wear items. Engine mounts wear out, sensors may fail, and suspension components need replacement. But the engine itself rarely becomes the main issue. The transmission also plays a role. The automatic transmission in these models is relatively simple and durable, especially compared to more complex systems. With basic fluid maintenance, it holds up well and doesn't develop major issues early. This Civic doesn't try to be impressive, but it consistently delivers long-term reliability through simplicity, low stress, and predictable behavior. So there you have it. If you pick the right one and take care of it properly, these cars won't just last, they'll outlive most of what's on the road today. The difference is never luck, it's how they're built and how they're maintained. So choose smart, maintain it right, and I'll see you on the road, buddy.